Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So friends, in this video we will have our discussion on a very wisdom oriented and very interesting topic, which is going to be around the divisional chart, which is connected with the prospects of the 5th house. Now I'm sure that you would be wondering that I might be talking about the D7 chart, Satyamsha chart, because when it comes down to the 5th house, the first thing which comes to our mind is the progeny, is children, and the divisional chart, Varga chart, which is connected with it, is the Satyamsha D7 chart. But let me spill the bean over here. I'm not talking about the D7 chart. In this video we will have our discussion on the D5 chart. Now friends, this is a very important chart, especially in the modern day and age, where people are not very much not many people are getting married or having children, but they are very dedicated, devoted to their spiritual vows, their spiritual duty, to their career, the cause they are associated with. So in those kind of scenarios, D5 chart becomes equally important. Like the way I say, D7 chart might tell about your physical children, it might tell about your fertility or the lineage of your blood, that is the D7. But D5 also tell about your wisdom lineage, your intellectual kind of progeny. It also tells about what will stay even after when you will be gone. See friends, this reminds me of one anecdote back from India, where there was this big industrialist in that cycle making manufacturing company. So he opened up a very big manufacturing unit of that. His business was very successful, and I guess he have 3 or 4 manufacturing units, and then he have 2 or 3 kids, and half of the factories gotten into dispute, and rest of the ones the court put some stay order on them. So no one has got anything, and all of his hard work gotten into dispute, and the legacy in terms of his the output which he gave to the world might not continue. But in the cases of people, there have been those single bachelor, even if I were talk about from India, this one of the Indian president and the genius scientist APJ Abdul Kalam. So there have been those people who have remained and stayed bachelor, and the legacy which they left. Even friends, when we talk about, I come from the from the chain of the Bharati Vidya Bhavan pedagogy and teachings only, right? And even the founder and the most respected figure from Bharati Vidya Bhavan, K.N. Rao sir, even he stayed single, right? So I mean to say, but his legacy will always live with his students. So in this kind of scenario, studying the D5 chart becomes very important, because this chart will tell about your puṇya. A lot of the times where we say that this person is demonstrating this talent, it is coming because of the purva janma samskaras. And I'm sure a lot of the times people, when they book their reading with me, they also say this thing: Nipun, I do not know, I'm born in the Eastern Europe, but right from my early childhood days, I have that fascination with the ISKCON, with the Hare Rama, Hare Krishna movement. I have that fascination with the Sanatan Dharma. So is it something which I have done in my past life? In my past life, was I born in India in a very devout, religious Hindu family? So all that information can also be extracted from the D5 chart. So in short, your any of the Purva Janam Vidya, your wisdom, your intellect, your lineage, which will continue even after when you will be gone, in terms of your students, in terms of your disciples, in terms of your teaching, all of that can be decoded from the D5 chart. But again friends, when we approach any of the divisional chart, there is a specific technique. The houses, their interpretation, planets, their interpretation, which all planets become exceptionally important in the D5 chart. How you can establish a connection between your D1 chart and the D5 chart. So all of that I will try to explain that in one short and concise master class on the D5 chart. So friends, before we will shift to the narration part, I'm sure that if you use some advanced software like Jagannath Hora, over there you will have this access for the D5 chart. There is one app which I sometimes use. It is the Jyotish app. You can see the screenshot of that in the screen. So even over there, by default, when you go to the section of the divisional charts, it by default gives you D5 calculation. So you do not have to learn that manually. There are like those application, those software where you can easily figure out this divisional chart, and then afterwards whatever I will be explaining over here, you can actually feel a connection. You can understand it in a much more efficient kind of way. So okay friends, after this, now we will shift our discussion to the narration part of this video, of this discussion on the D5 chart. So friends, I'm very excited that today I got a chance to talk on this topic, because when I was very new and started my journey in Vedic astrology, I used to get confused that when it comes down to the prospects of the children, why there is a 7 division, why there is D7, and why D7 is not seen for the marriage, right? Why for the marriage we see the 9th division, Navamsa. So yeah, that is the only reason. Finally, now I have this opportunity, I have my notes ready to talk about this divisional chart, which is very important, because if your concerns are to decode the information connected to the past life merits or devotion, bhakti, some sort of natural talents and attraction, so you have to study this divisional chart. So friends, to begin with, Panchamsha or the D5 chart is the chart of the divine intelligence, mantra shakti and spiritual continuity. So the way it has been mentioned, Vidya dadati vinayam vinayad yati patratam. Knowledge gives humility, humility gives worthiness. The D5 chart is one of the most misunderstood yet sacred Vargas. It does not primarily show children, nor is it merely creative talent. The Panchamsha chart reveals how wisdom incarnates through you, what kind of knowledge you transmit, whether your light stops with you or multiplies, your mantra shakti and devata resonance, the subtle difference between progeny of the body versus progeny of consciousness. So what Panchamsha like D5 truly represents? The classical definition according to the Bhrat Prashar Hora Shastra and later commentators is, Panchamsha relates to buddhi, intelligence, vidya, knowledge, putra tattva, continuity, and mantra shakti. But putra here, like the child or the progeny here, does not mean only physical children. Higher mean of putra from Upanishad is Atma is reborn through knowledge. Thus, D5 shows intellectual children like your students, spiritual lineage, ideas that survive you, what you plant in the collective mind. So friends, if you actually have to understand the critical distinction between the D5 chart and the D7 chart. So D7 or the Satyamsha chart talks about the physical children, fertility, lineage of blood, whereas D5 chart or the Panchamsha chart talks about the intellectual and spiritual progeny, wisdom continuity. So the simple rule is, D7 will tell about will I have children, D5 will tell about what survives me even if I don't. So a person may have weak D7 but powerful D5, which will talk about guru without biological hairs, and a strong D7 but weak D5 will talk about family lineage, not the wisdom lineage. So friends, the Panchamsha and the past life knowledge, the karmic memory, right? So D5 is deeply connected to the samskaras. Like from the Jaimini Sutras, knowledge carried effortlessly indicate Purv Janma Vidya, past life learning. So the general signs of the past life Vidya in the D5 are strong Jupiter and Mercury, Sagittarius or Pisces D5 Lagna, Saturn connected to D5 Lagna, which tells about wisdom earned through suffering. Rahu Ketu axis, like generally in this calculation, you might have Rahu Ketu in the same house. So that will tell about non-traditional or broken lineage. And such natives, like, they don't learn, they remember, feel drawn to scriptures without formal initiation, carry inner authority even without certification. Also, friends, because some of the important attribute of the fifth house in our chart is of the East Devata, right? The personal deity. So, unlike the D20, the Vimsamsa, D5 shows how you connect to the divine, not how ritualistic you are, okay? So, for example, if I were to give the planetary mapping, planetary Devata mapping in the D5, although we will go in detail for all the planets. So, for example, for the Surya, it tells more about the truth, about the dharma, like the Rama, Lord Rama, right, which comes to our mind. When we talk about moon, so the thing which comes to our mind, the Devata, like this could be Lord Krishna, this could be Devi, and the principles could be of the ras, of the bhakti. If it is Mars, the god which comes to our mind is the Narsimha or the Skand, the principles of the tapas, of the protection. When it comes down to Mercury, so Lord Vishnu or the Narad, or the principles of teaching or transmission. When we talk about the planet Jupiter, so like Dakshinamurti, Brahaspati, and the principles of the Guru Tattva. When we talk about the planet Venus, so this could be goddess Lakshmi, Lalita, the principles of grace and devotion. When we talk about planet Saturn, so this could be Lord Hanuman, this could be Shani, as the god like personified, and the principles of surrender through duty. When we talk about Rahu, so Lord Kal Bhairav, Varaha, like the principles of breaking false dharma. And when we talk about Ketu, so Lord Ganesha, Dattatreya, and the principles of liberation and the moksha. So friends, the strongest planet influencing the D5 Lagna or fifth from it often indicates East Devata resonance. So friends, on this note only, so let me, like, a lot of my audience is very spiritual, with strong interest in yoga. So I would say let's try to connect the different koshas of our body as well. See, even in the Brihat Parashar Hora Shastra, the D5 is one of the 16 vital division. Like Shodash Varga, it is derived by dividing a sign into 5 parts of 6 degree each, right? So that means the Upanishadic connection of the 5 kosha. So the D5 is intrinsically linked to the Panch kosha, the 5 sheath of the human being. And just because we are talking about the Shodash Varga chart as well, right? So, like I mean to say, let's say for example, if the D1 chart, which talks about the physical body, right, it can be connected with the Annamaya kosha. The D9 chart can be connected with the Manomaya kosha, the mental body. The intellectual body could be connected with the D24 chart, the Vigyanmaya kosha, or the bliss body, the Anandmaya body could be connected with the D20. Same is the way D5 can be connected with the vital energy of the Pranmaya kosha. So this is where the D5 lives. And also friends, because D5 corresponds to the Pranmaya kosha, it governs your hunger, not just for food, but for power, creativity, and spiritual union. It is the chart of spiritual authority. And also friends, talking about the Devatas of D5, the 5 rulers. So the way I mentioned, for this calculation you have to divide the sign into 5 parts of 6 degree each, right? So you must be seeing this slide in your screen. So like for example, Agni, from 0 degree to 6 degree of the section, this division is connected with god Agni, a god of fire, which represents transformation, digestive fire, and the power of the mantra. So like friends, when I will show you the reference chart, yeah, it is going to be my own personal chart only. You can see the resonance. I will explain it to you over there as well, how to practically use it. So just first calculate it from the Jagannath Hora software or this Jyotish app. I'm sure Cosmic Insight will also have that, and then you can follow this which I'm telling you over here. So the division of 6 degree to 12 degree is connected with the Yama, which has to do with the principles of discipline, law, order, and the ability to control the breath and the senses. 12 degree to 18 degree is connected with the Varuna, water, infinite, connection to the subconscious and the vastness of the soul. 18 degree to 24 degree division is connected with the Indra, with the kingship, control of the indriyas, senses, and worldly fame. And 24 degree to 30 degrees connected with soma, nectar, moon, like we say bhakti, devotion, and the cooling of the mind. So the spiritual key is a planet in the Agni division gives a warrior-like focus to one sadhana, whereas in the soma it leads to the path of prem sagar, ocean of love and bhakti. So friends, although I will talk about that, just in short, when we talk about the past life, Ishta Devata and the sadhana, so the D5 is the account ledger of your past life merits, Sanchit Karma. That means 5th house of the D5 shows the specific mantra or vidya you perfected in a past life. Like we say that Ishta Devata versus the D5, right? So while the Ishta Devata is traditionally, like many people calculate that from 12th from the Atma Karaka in the D9. Many people use this principle. So the D5 reveals how you actually practice. So if your Ishta Devata is Lord Vishnu, but your D5 Lagna is ruled by Mars, you will likely worship him but in a fierce form, like of Narsimha, or through disciplined action. So yes friends, when we talk about sadhana and bhakti, so sun in the D5 for example will talk about the Atma Sadhana, knowledge of self. Moon in the D5 will talk about the bhakti yoga, and Jupiter in the D5 will talk about the traditional Gurukul style learning and the Puranic wisdom. So yes friends, let's keep going the discussion which we started, as I was talking about the signs of the past life and talking about, like for example, we have covered the Ishta Devata, right, all the planets and the connected gods. So let's dive deeper into the 5 kosha, because I'm sure in the comment section many people appreciate this approach of connecting astrology with the different layers of spirituality. So for example, D5 is directly linked to the Panch Kosha described in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So for example, the Annamaya Kosha, if like your D5 resonate on the Annamaya level, so it will, the expression of the D5 will be literal children, or this could be the physical acts of devotion. If the D5 is reverberating more on the Pranamaya Kosha, it will reverberate more on the breath, on the mantras, on the vitality. If it is reverberating on the Manomaya Kosha, it will reverberate through thought forms or belief. If it is reverberating on the Vijnanamaya Kosha, it will reverberate on the wisdom, discernment, like the core of the D5. And if it is reverberating on the Anandamaya Kosha, the expression of the D5 is going to be bliss through teaching, through bhakti. So a strong D5 means teaching becomes a sadhana, not a profession. And also friends, like when we talk about the, like how you can even connect the chakras and the D5 activation, right? So D5 primarily resonate with the Vishuddha and the Ajna chakra. I will not say that it is connected with the Sahasrar, because that is more of the domain of the D60 chart, right? And I will also not say that you can connect it with the Mooladhara or the Swadhisthana. I would say that it is connected more, it is aligned more with the Vishuddha and the Ajna chakra. So the planetary chakra resonance could be like the prominence of the Mercury and Jupiter in the D5 has more to do with the teaching, with the mantra. Moon and Venus has got more with the Anahata, with the bhakti, and Saturn has got more to do with the Ajna, renunciation and the maturity. So this explains why some people speak rarely but powerfully, and some teach without charisma, but yet they have the potential to transform lives. So friends, also when we talk about like connecting the D5 chart and the typical yogic practice tailored for you. So from the Yoga Sutras of the Patanjali, Swa Adhyay leads to Ishta Devata Samprayoga. I mean to say, D5 indicates which yogic path matures you. So for example, Jupiter, the strength of Jupiter will talk more about the Gyan Yoga, right? Moon Venus will talk more about the Bhakti Yoga. Saturn will talk more about the Karma Yoga. Like for example, in a monastery, in a meditation center, the person who is giving the discourse might be the Jupiterian. Those who are listening to the discourse might be the Moon and Venus. And those who are doing the voluntary work there might be the Saturn ruled, the Karma Yoga. Mercury, Swadhyay, teaching. So Mercury person might be making the journal, making the note of that. and people who are actually utilizing that, implementing that in their day-to-day life might be governed more by the Mars. So let me spill the beans, friends. Jupiter strengthened in the D5, the suitable path for use of the Gyan Yoga. Moon Venus strengthened in the D5, the suitable path for you is Bhakti Yoga. Saturn strengthened in the D5, the suitable path for use of the Karma Yoga. Mercury strengthened in the D5, the suitable path for use of the Swadhyay, teaching. Mars strengthened in the D5, the suitable path for use of the tapas and the discipline. And also, friends, when we talk about the pranayam, right, the breathing, so strong moon talks about the Chandra Bhedan, strong sun and Mars talks about the Surya Bhedan, and the strong Saturn influence talks about the slow Nadi Shodhan. So friends, the the D5, romance and the sacred love. So D5 does not show romance as pleasure, it shows how love elevates consciousness. Venus strong in D5 talks about love as devotion. Saturn strong, love as responsibility. Rahu strong, love as transformation. And Jupiter strong, love as dharma. And also friends, like some people experience celibacy but with fulfillment, late love with depth, and partner as the spiritual companion. Now friends, let's try to look at the different houses as well. You have calculated your D5 chart, it's right in front of you. Now what does all the houses represent? So the first house generally tells about the teaching style, right? The second house tells about the mantra and the speech. Third house tells about the writing and the expression. Fourth house tells about the inner faith, how rooted you are in your faith, in your devotion. Fifth house talks about the transmission of wisdom. Like for example, ninth house tells about the guru and the lineage. 10th house talks about the teaching as karma. 11th house talks about the students and the audience. And the 12th house tells about the moksha through knowledge. So friends, the Panchamsha, like the D5 legacy is, a strong D5 indicate your name may fade, but your ideas survive. Students carry your torch. Wisdom continues beyond your lifetime. From Phal Deepika, we say the true son is the one who preserves dharma. Because friends, D5 is not about how many children you have. That might be the domain of the D7. But it is. D5 is about how many minds you awaken. So friends, let's briefly look at, for example, different planets as well. I would say that you have to see the Karak Bhava, right? In the D5, the ascendant lord of the D5, and the fifth house individually. So for example, the way I mentioned, each graha in the D5 transmit wisdom, lineage and divine intelligence. So the core principle is, in D5 planets do not act as events, they act as modes of transmission of consciousness. Now when we talk about the sun in the D5, so it tells about the dharma vidya and the solar lineage. The classical root is sun represents your atma, your soul, and the true dharma. In D5, sun shows truth that must be upheld, not negotiated. And the manifestation happens like, where we say teaching through example, not persuasion, someone who is going to have natural authority. Students see you as a reference point, not a friend. The past life indication could be of the Raj Rishi, administrator, lawgiver, and we say responsibility misused or abandoned. Now you have to correct that. The shadow side could be if sun, you have to study that in the D5, like dogmatism, my way is the only way. The Devata resonance, I already talked about it, like Lord Ram, Lord Shiva as the Dakshinamurti, or the Surya, the personified, Devata personified in the human form and worshipping him. The sadhana, we say the best is the Gayatri Japa, Surya Namaskar with awareness, and teaching dharma without any ego. Now friends, for example, you have to approach moon in the D5. It will talk about the bhakti, vidya and the emotional transmission. Like the classical root is moon represents your manas and your bhav, like your expression, your emotion and your mind. So wisdom transmitted through empathy and resonance. Like it can manifest as healers, teachers, bhakti, mantra, storytelling. Students feel like they feel seen, not instructed. And the past life indication could be like you might be a bhakt, you might be a like a devotee, like a disciple, temple associated roles. The shadow side of this placement is like emotional burnout, over attachment to students. When we talk about the devata, so friends, like obviously Lord Krishna, goddess like Devi, Lalita, or Chandra, like worshipping Chandra devata as human personified. The sadhana for you could be doing the japa in the night time, bhakti, devotion without any expectation, and the Chandra Bhedan Pranayam. Friends, when we talk about the Mars, planet Mars in the D5, it talks more about the tapas and the transformational knowledge. Like the classical root is Mars is connected with Agni, fire, with tapas, with courage. So it can manifest through tough teachers, like the way when we talk about, the way Chanakya was to Chandragupta, or this could be Rishi Durvasa, right? So we say like, or even this could be Lord, like the saint Rishi Parshuram as well. So we say that Mars generally manifests as tough teachers, truth through confrontation, disciplines like Tantra, Kriya, marital yoga. The past life indication could be of like someone might be a Kshatriya kind of sadhak, like protector of the righteousness, protector of the knowledge. The shadow side of Mars in the D5 could reflect in a form of the harsh speech, teaching through fear, the gods, the Devata, connected if Mars is a prominent player in your D5 calculation. So Skand, Narsimha, Bhairava, the sadhana we say, like the sadhana we say of the Kapal Bharti, like Kapal Bharti, physical discipline, silence, channeling anger into the tapas. When we connect Mercury in the D5, so here we are talking about the Shastra, like scriptures, explanation, and the teaching skills. So the classical root is Mercury is connected with the intellect, with the vak, with your speech, and the Shastras. It manifests through excellent teachers, translators of the complex wisdom, and the curriculum designers. The past life indication could be the person might be a scholarly person like Pandit, teacher, student of many gurus, those who have been to different schools and like taken the knowledge from different teachers, because Mercury is always a very good student. Mercury could be a very good student. The shadow side of Mercury, which can reflect in the D5, could be over intellectualization, right? Sometimes even when people book their reading with me and they're all the time asking for calculation, logic, and like the spiritual knowledge needs to be felt from inside. You cannot rationalize it all the time. See, sometimes in the readings, even the omens, the Shakun plays such a significant role that even without opening up the chart, question can be answered only via observing the omens, right? But yeah, the shadow side of Mercury in the D5 could be that the person might try to over intellectualize even the devotional or the religious or the spiritual knowledge as well. When we talk about the Devata, if Mercury is the defining player in the D5 in your chart, so Vishnu, Narad, Lord Ganesha, the sadhana suited, tailored for you is of the Swadhyay, scriptural reading, teaching what you study, and mantra with articulation. When we talk about the Jupiter in the D5, it talks more about the Guru Parampara and the wisdom lineage, right? The classical root is Jupiter is like worshipped as the Guru, as the Dharma, as the grace. It manifests through the natural Guru energy. Students gather without effort and teaching matures with age. The past life indication could be the person might be a guru himself, teacher, priest, or philosopher. The shadow side of this Jupiter in the D5 is like moral superiority, dogma masked as wisdom. The Devata you have to worship is like Brihaspati, Dakshinamurti, Narayan. The sadhana suited for you is of the silence before teaching, teaching only lived wisdom, charity to the knowledge seekers. Friends, if Venus in the D5 is a prominent planet for you, so here we are talking about the grace, rasa, and the devotional wisdom. The classical root is like Venus is connected with the Saundarya, like bhakti, beauty, rasa, right? So the manifestation happens through teaching, through beauty, art, mantra, devotion, healing, love as the path to God. Past life indication, you might be a devotee, artist, healer. The shadow side of Venus in the D5 reflect through attachment to pleasure, dilution of discipline. The Devata, we know that goddess Lalita, Lakshmi, Radha. The sadhana for you could be bhakti music, heart-centered meditation, and offering beauty to the divine. Friends, Saturn in the D5 tells about the wisdom earned through suffering. So the classical root is Saturn, which represents the karma, right? The time and the endurance. It manifests through late blooming teacher, authority through lived hardship. Few students, but very deep impact. The past life indication could be of misuse or avoidance of responsibility, now repaid through service. The shadow side could be of pessimism, emotional coldness. Devata, I talked about that, Hanumanji, or like planet Shani, planet Shani personified. Because in India you have even the gods, like planets worshipped as the gods, and they have their temples. When we talk about the sadhana, so we talk about karma yoga, silent service, and teaching after maturity. Friends, when we approach Rahu in the D5, here we are talking about unorthodox and the foreign wisdom, which manifests through like breaking tradition, new framework, foreign or cross-cultural students. The shadow side could be ego in the innovation, disrespect of lineage. When we talk about the gods, so Lord Kal Bhairav and the Varaha. When we talk about the Ketu in the D5, here we are talking about the liberating knowledge, which manifests through minimal teaching, direct awakening, and disinterest in the fame. And here we are talking about Devatas like Lord Ganesha or the Dattatreya. So friends, that goes without any saying that people who end up becoming very successful teachers, guide, mentors, astrologers, in their case you will definitely see prominence of the fifth house, like in total trine houses, first house, fifth house, ninth house, but somehow fifth house, and the D5 chart then automatically becomes important. So for example, like if you're like trying to establish yourself as a teacher, as a guru, as an astrologer, so the checklist which you have to see, right, before teaching or before starting to teach seriously. So the very first is the foundation check. So like is your livelihood stable without teaching? Because otherwise desperation comes. Are you teaching from the experience, not exclusively from the theory? Because then there is not going to be depth in your teaching. And can you remain unattached to praise or rejection? Because then only you will be unbiased, right? So the foundation check is important. Motive check is important. Are you teaching to survive or to serve? Are you seeking authority or you're offering clarity to your students? Because if the D5 collapses, like D5 can collapse if it is ruled and governed by the ego. The lineage, it is very important, friends, like because especially when we talk about the Hindu Sanatan Dharma, a lot of the knowledge comes from the lineage, from the parampara, right? So do you repeat the classical sources? Are you clear about where your knowledge comes from? Because if Rahu is dominating D5, you must still honor the roots. The student karma check is also very important. Are you ready to take responsibility for the students' lives? It is very responsible job of a teacher, of a guru. And can you say that you do not know when needed? Because it is a karmic responsibility, not just the content delivery. So yes, friends, because the D5 failure points could be like, if you're teaching just for the income alone, you're teaching before the life stabilize, you're teaching to seek validation, you're disrespecting the lineage, and you're mixing ego with spirituality. So all of these are the red flags. So we say this thing that if D5 is the chart of the continuity, it decides whether knowledge dies with you or walks forward through others. Also friends, let's briefly look at all the zodiac signs as well, and then I will show you a reference chart. Like I cannot come up with any other chart, I'll just show you my chart only. But before that, okay, let's look at the D5 sign wise interpretation. So how divine intelligence chooses to express itself. So for example, if in the D5 you have got the Aries Lagna, right? So it will talk about the initiatory kind of fire teacher. Like the essence could be of knowledge through activation. Your teaching style could be direct, fearless, action oriented, catalytic. You awaken people by challenging inertia. When we talk about the past life of yours, okay, so the past life Vidya could be of like a warrior, of a monk. You might be a protector of the sacred teachings and the tapas driven path. Devata, we have already talked about Skanda, Narsimha, Durga in the protective form. Sadhana could be like, what is suited for you. Early morning mantra, tapas, silence, Surya Bhedan. And what you have to safeguard yourself is from the impatience, teaching before maturity, and ego assertion. Now, let's say, for example, friends, you have Taurus as the rising, as the Lagna in the D5. It talks about the devotional preserver. Like the essence is knowledge through stability and rasa. Like your teaching style could be gentle, rhythmic, devotional, embodied. You teach through presence and grace. When we talk about the past life Vidya, here we are talking about someone who could be a temple musician, a devotee, keeper of ritual arts. When we talk about the Devata, we're talking about the goddess Lakshmi, Lalita, Radha Krishna, sadhana, so bhakti kirtan, grounded breath work, heart centered meditation, and what you have to be watchful of is attachment to comfort or avoiding necessary disruption. Now friends, when we talk about like if you have Mithun like Gemini as the rising in the D5, so it talks about the scriptural communicator where the essence is of knowledge through articulation. Your teaching style could be analytical, explanatory, multi-layered, curriculum builder. You decode the incomprehensible. The past life Vidya is like you might be a pandit, an expert, translator of scriptures, like a astrologer in the royal court. Devata, we talk about it like Vishnu, Narad, Ganesha. Sadhana for you is of the Swadhyay, mantra articulation, scriptural recitation. And what you have to safeguard yourself is from the over intellectualization, lack of heart. If you are the Cancer as the rising in the D5, so you are the emotional alchemist. Essence is knowledge through compassion. Your teaching style could be healing based, nurturing, intuitive, protective. You transform through empathy. The past life Vidya is of a healer, caretaker mystic, devotional mother archetype. When we talk about the Devata, here we are talking about the Devi, Krishna, Parvati. The sadhana for you is of the moon mantra, night contemplation, Chandra Bhedan. The shadow side could be of emotional burnout, attachment to students. So if you are Leo as the rising in the D5, here we are talking about a dharma luminary where the essence is knowledge through authority. Your teaching style could be commanding, ethical, principle centered, and leadership driven. Students look to you for direction. The past life Vidya could be of king scholar, dharma guardian, spiritual leader, like the gods or the Devatas. So we talk about the Surya, Rama, Shiva as Guru, the sadhana suited for use of the Gayatri, solar meditation, like leadership with humility. The shadow side could be of pride, of rigid moralism. When we talk about the Virgo, like if you are Virgo as the D5 Lagna, here we're talking about the precision analyst, where the essence is of knowledge through refinement. The teaching style could be detail focused, systematic, corrective, research driven. You perfect knowledge before transmitting it. When we talk about the past life Vidya, we're talking about the Vedic editor, ritual corrector, Ayurvedic analyst. And the Devatas are like Goddess Saraswati, Lord Vishnu, Dhanvantri. The sadhana for use of the Nadi Shodhan, scriptural editing, disciplined journaling. And what you have to safeguard yourself, the shadow side of this Lagna could be perfection paralysis, over criticism. If in the D5 your rising is of Libra, here we're talking about the harmonizing teacher, where the essence is knowledge through balance. Your teaching style could be of a diplomatic, like like someone who's going to be very diplomatic, relational, people who get very personal, aesthetic, meditation based. You unify opposing ideas. The past life vidya could be like a diplomat kind of monk, advisor, harmony keeper. We say that the gods or the devata, we talked about it, like the Shukra, human personified, worshipping him like this, goddess Lakshmi, goddess Radha. The sadhana for you is partnered meditation, bhakti through relationship, balancing your breath. The shadow side could be of indecision, seeking approval. When we talk about the Scorpio as the D5 Lagna, right? Here we are talking about the esoteric transformer, like where the essence is of knowledge through intensity. The teaching style could be very psychological, occult driven, deep diving, and transformational. You expose hidden truth. The past life vidya could be of tantric, occultist, secret initiator. When we talk about the devata, here we are talking about the goddess Kali, Lord Kal Bhairav, Lord Narsimha. The sadhana suited for you is of the deep meditation, shadow work, controlled breath retention. And what you have to safeguard yourself is power struggle or secrecy. Sagittarius as the D5 Lagna. Here we are talking about the classical guru, where the essence is of knowledge through philosophy. The teaching style could be very scriptural, expansive, visionary, or parampara rooted. You carry the lineage forward. The past life vidya could be of a guru, of a monk, of a philosopher. In this lifetime, the devata, we say Brahaspati, human personified, Dakshinamurti, Narayan. Sadhana for you could be long contemplation, scriptural immersion, teaching through discourses. The shadow side could be of dogmatism, moral superiority. When we talk about Capricorn as your D5 Lagna, here we are talking about the institutional builder, where the essence is of knowledge through structure. Your teaching style could be very structured, very practical, very long term, very system building. You build institutions, not the movements. The past life vidya, which comes natural to you, is of like being a system guardian, administrator of the sacred institution. Like if in this lifetime you are the custodian, you are taking care of a temple or a religious institution, a yoga meditation center. So that administrative skills of sacred institution is coming from the past life. When we talk about the devata friends, so Lord Hanuman, Shani, planet Shani as human personified. Sadhana of the Karam Yoga, long-term discipline, silent service. The shadow side could be of dryness, emotional suppression. When we talk about Aquarius as the D5 Lagna, here we are talking about a future architect, where the essence is knowledge through reform. The teaching style suited for you is of like someone who could be innovative, humanitarian, system reforming, cross-cultural. You modernize the ancient wisdom. The past life vidya which comes to you is of a rebel mystic, social reformer. The worship of the Shiva, Varuna, Bhairava is tailored for you. The sadhana suited for you, this could be group meditation, breath awareness, teaching global audiences. The shadow side for you could be isolation or detachment from the heart. And friends, lastly, when we talk about Pisces as the D5 Lagna, here we are talking about the mystic dissolver, where the essence comes through knowledge through surrender. Your teaching style could be best suited for you is like where we say silence, poetic, symbolic, mystical. You transmit beyond language. The past life vidya which comes to you, or in the past life the knowledge which you have acquired, it might have acquired through like being a mystic, being a renunciate, or a saint archetype. The devata suited for you are like Narayan, Dattatreya, Lord Vishnu. Sadhana, like where we say deep meditation, mantra jap, bhakti immersion. And we talk about the shadow, like what you have to be watchful of is escapism and avoiding the structure. So friends, at the end I will just show you my D5 chart only. Let's look at my chart and study that. So if you will see over here, so the D5 Lagna, the D5 Lagna I have is of the Dhanu, Sagittarius, and the Mula Nakshatra energy, right? So obviously, because if I have a D5 Lagna as Sagittarius at 0 degree 20 minutes, so it is in the Mula Nakshatra. So the Devata is Agni. I showed you the Devatas like division as well, right? So because my Lagna falls in the first 6 degree of an odd sign, my D5 ruler is Agni, fire. This indicates that my pranamaya kosha, like energy body, is fueled by transformation, and my spiritual path is not passive. It requires tapasya, heat, austerity, and the metaphorical burning of the old karmas. Even in my main ascendant chart, my 8th house is very strong, so it might be some karmas from the past, right? The Mula impact, the nakshatra impact. So being in the first pada of the Mula ruled by Ketu, it suggests that my spiritual authority comes from rooting out illusion, and I might have a natural instinct to find the hidden core of any philosophy. Again friends, like moon is in the ascendant in the Dhanu, right? So having moon in the first house of the D5 also suggests a past life dedicated to bhakti or emotional purification, that my hunger is for a meaningful philosophical connection to the divine. And I do not know what happened now. Ever since I moved to Canada, it gave me many things, but my love, my passion, my obsession with Shiva, the way it was when I just started my life, and it is like Pur Jan Samskara only, because I was like somehow naturally attracted to Shiva, and I was keeping the fasting even when I was like 4 or 5 year old. So yeah, that comes as a Pur Jan Samskara. And also friends, in my chart in the D5 you will see 5th house is very accentuated, right? So with the conjunction of Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, tightly conjunct in the 5th house of the D5, it also talks about the Vidya Yoga, like the intelligence, the intellectual kind of yoga. So in the house of the creative intelligence, so it suggests that I might have spent previous lifetimes mastering sacred text, Jupiter, or this could be linguistics or logic, Mercury, or perhaps this could be the art of the tantric aesthetics, Venus. So because it's a Aries, Agni sign, fire sign, so the sadhana should involve active mental engagement. This could be the study of the shastras or the use of specific high vibrating mantras as well. So yes friends, so we say, like, when you have to study the spiritual blueprint in any D5 chart, especially from the East and the romance point of view, so with the 5th house so heavily populated, it generally tells about that the path could be of the Gyan, Bhakti, like wisdom infused with devotion. And the presence of Jupiter, like D5 Lagna Lord in the 5th house, also indicates that the East energy is likely a guru figure or manifestation of the Dakshinamurti, the silent teacher. So okay friends, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. I always say it is a learning platform. We all learn from each other. So whatever is getting applicable in your case, whatever you have figured out from your ascendant chart 5th house, how much is that getting verified or validated with your D5 chart Lagna, with your D5 chart planetary placement? So whatsoever your observations are, your findings are, do share that in the comment section so that we can learn from each other. So okay friends, for further more updates and notification on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyavad.